Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. The date is January 3rd, 2022. The time is now 7 o'clock p.m. I call to order a public hearing for ordinance number 1063 concerning amending Chapter 78, Floodplain Management. This is an ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of Havre, Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government, Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and Sections 33 and 34 of the Havre Grace City Charter to amend Chapter 78, Floodplain Management, to require that mechanical systems be elevated above the base flood elevation and adding a definition for repetitive lost properties. This is a public hearing on ordinance number 1063. Are there any members of the audience here this evening to speak on this ordinance? Okay. Any council members wish to comment on this ordinance for public hearing? Okay. With no public comment, and without any council comment, I now call this public hearing on ordinance 1063 to be closed. Okay, good evening. I call to order a meeting of the Havre Grace Mayor and City Council. The date is January 3rd, 2022. The time is now 7:02 p.m. I'll call the roll here. Oops, excuse me one second. Council President Glenn.
Here.
Councilmember Robertson. Councilmember Zinner.
Here.
Councilmember Boyer.
Here.
Councilmember Ringsacker.
Here.
Councilmember Martin.
Here.
Thank you very much. Please join me for Pledge Allegiance and the opening prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I could kindly ask everyone to remain standing, as it gives me pleasure again to welcome Reverend Gene Proud, the Proud Evangelistic Association. Reverend, welcome back and Happy New Year to you, sir.
Happy New Year to you.
Good to see you again so soon.
Yes, and it'll be like 6 months before I come back. I get the first one and the last one in the schedules. Let's pray. Father, thank you for everyone that you've brought here. Give each one the wisdom and knowledge so that everything that's done will be for everyone's good, for their best. Protect each individual in attendance and each individual in the council and all the various departments of the city government throughout this entire year, so that everything can be done for the glory and honor of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Reverend Proud, thank you so much. We're going to go to item number 5, approval of the minutes, City Council meeting minutes of December 20th, 2021. Council, to have a motion to approve?
So move.
Motion by Councilmember Zinner, second by Councilmember Ringsacker. Questions or comments on the minutes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. City Council meeting minutes of December 20th, 2021. Approved, 5-0 in affirmative. Okay, we're going to go to item 6, which is citizen comments. This is the part of this evening's meeting. If you have anything you wish to comment on the city agenda or any other city business in general, this is the time to do so. Normally I start off with any citizen who filled out a form ahead of time, and then I'll just take citizens at large to speak. So I do have one form, and I'd like to call forward Miss Juliet Moore. Good evening and welcome, Mrs. Moore. May we please have your name and address for the record?
Juliette Moore, 734 Tidings Road, Havre, Grace, Maryland.
Welcome.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I would just like to make a few comments on events that are, we have applied for approval from the Mayor and City Council at the Maritime Museum, Havre, Grace Maritime Museum. And the first event that we wish to hold is the Garden Mart, which is planned for this May on the premises of the Maritime Museum and Concord Point Lighthouse Keeper's House. We plan to have a vendor space on the grounds of the Keeper's House, and there will be flowers and plants sold at the museum's lower level, as well as food and drink sold on the concrete pad beside the museum. The next event we are planning is the Shrimp and Barbecue Fest, an annual fundraiser that has usually been held at Hutchins Park. This is a major fundraiser for the museum. We plan to have a buffet-style shrimp feast under the community pavilion and a silent auction and 50-50 raffle during the hours of the event. And the last event is the Autumn Fest, which was held for the first time this past October and is very similar to the Garden Mart. Vendors would be set up across the street from the museum on the Concord Point Lighthouse Keeper's House lawn, and there would be children's activities and live entertainment, in addition to food and drink for sale. I very much appreciate your consideration of these events.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Moore. We appreciate your comments. Thank you. Anyone in the audience wish to speak under public comment? Okay, council, any comments? Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on to item 7, appointments. This evening, we have no appointments on our agenda. We will go to number 8, recognitions. This evening, we have no recognitions. Number 9, proclamations. This evening, we have nothing to proclaim. Number 10, presentations. We have nothing to present. Number 11, resolutions, and we have nothing to resolve, which takes us number 12, ordinances, also known as laws. And we have a couple here on the agenda. Looks like we have 1062 and an amending chapter 205 of the zoning code. So we're going to start with ordinance 1062, which is going to be a second reading. That's Councilmember Zinner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I make a motion to introduce ordinance number 1062 to authorize the acquisition of portions of Chapel Road and enter into an MOU for snow removal, second reading and adoption.
Hold on one second. Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Zinner. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Martin. This is a motion to introduce ordinance 1062 on the second reading. Questions or comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce ordinance 1062 carries 5-0 in the affirmative. This is ordinance 1062, second reading, to authorize acquisition of portions of Chapel Road and to enter into an MOU for snow removal. Second reading. An ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the annotated code for Maryland, and sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter for the purpose of acquiring portions of Chapel Road from the county that are adjacent to parcels already annexed into the city and entering a memorandum of understanding for snow removal for those portions of Chapel Road remaining in the county. Council, I have a motion to adopt ordinance 1062 on second reading.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Zinner, seconded by Councilmember Martin. Questions or comments on the adoption of this ordinance? Councilmember Zinner.
Thank you. As I mentioned the last time we met and discussed this, it is not a increase the cost to the cities or the city or the taxpayers. This is a mutual agreement by the county and the city to take over officially the task of maintaining that road, because it does bifurcate between the county and the city of Havre de Grace city limits. So this will put that street into city limits, and the city will continue to maintain for snow removal, paving, etc. So I wish that my council members would agree to this MOU. Thank you.
Very well, Councilmember Zinner, thank you. Any other questions or comments from council members? Okay, council, I will do a roll call on the adoption of this ordinance. Councilmember Zinner,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer,
Yes.
Councilmember Ringsager,
Yes.
Council President Glenn.
Yes.
By roll call of 5-0 in the affirmative, City Ordinance 1062 is adopted by council. Thank you very much. Item B, ordinance to amend Chapter 205 of the zoning code regarding pain management clinics. And we will refer this is going to be a first reading on this ordinance, and we will refer this to Councilmember Ringsager, who is the chair of the planning committee.
Mr. Mayor, Council, I make a motion to introduce an ordinance to amend Chapter 205 zoning, pain management clinics for first reading.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Councilmember Ringsager, second by Councilmember Zinner. This is a motion to introduce an ordinance. Questions or comments on this introduction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce an ordinance regarding pain management clinics carries 5-0 in the affirmative. Okay, council, this is going to be ordinance 1064. An ordinance by the mayor and city council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, a local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter to add a definition and regulatory standards for pain management clinics in the commercial district. Council to have a motion to adopt 1064 on first reading.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Martin, second by Councilmember Ringsager. Questions or comments on 1064? Councilmember Ringsager.
Mr. Mayor, Council, the intent of this ordinance is for the relief of the previous instated moratorium on specific pain management clinics and to establish rules and guidelines for future clinics within the city limits.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Ringsager. Any other questions or comments? Okay, council, I'll take a roll call on 1064. Councilmember Ringsager.
Yes.
Council President Glenn.
Yes.
Councilmember Martin.
Yes.
Councilmember Zinner.
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
By roll call, 5-0 in the affirmative. City Ordinance 1064 is adopted on first reading. Council President, when would you like to hold the public hearing?
We'll do that the next meeting's be on the, I guess it's 17th, 18th? 18th.
18th, yes, sir. 17th is a federal holiday.
Right.
And, right, so it'll be Tuesday, February 18th will be our next council meeting. We'll hold the public hearing
Sounds good.
right before the council meeting, all right? Sound good? Thank you very much, Council President. All right, council, thank you. We're going to move on to item B, old business. And we actually do have old business we want to address. It's an update on Councilmanic redistricting litigation. I'm going to hand it off to Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to take this opportunity to update the residents of Havre de Grace on the city's lawsuit against the county as it relates to the Councilmanic redistricting. In November and early December, the City Council held 2 publicly noticed closed sessions to consult with the city attorney and to consider legal remedies in our continued efforts to stop the gerrymandering of District F. Those legal consultations and the comments made by council members and the public at the County Council meeting on December 7th, 2021, led to the city's filing of the lawsuit because, as previously stated, the county redistricting plans were not properly adopted, and the city was going to take all actions to oppose the council plan. The city's position was vindicated last week when the county executive vetoed Bill 21-2020, 25. That bill, 21-25, would allow the Harford County Council Plan to be adopted in lieu of the bipartisan Redistricting Commission Plan supported by the city. Keep in mind that whatever is approved to be in place will be in place for the next 10 years. Therefore, it is utterly important for the Havre de Grace community to get adequate representation moving forward. With that said, a representative on the school board also comes from District F. When the initial HCPS balancing enrollment suggestions was proposed to move students within the Havre de Grace community, I reached out on numerous occasions to our representative and got no response. This, without a doubt, is unacceptable. It is ever so important to ensure our voices are heard. As an elected official, my goal has been, is, and will always to do the right thing for all the right reasons. More importantly, I must always go to bat for those that I represent. I, without a doubt, feel that Redistricting Commission Plan is by far the best option for the city of Havre de Grace. As long as the county executive veto is not overridden, the bipartisan Redistricting Commission Plan will become effective. The Harford County Council will be addressing the county executive's veto on Tuesday night, that's tomorrow night, January 4th, at their council meeting. Any citizen who wants to encourage the council members to support the county executive's veto should consider attending Tuesday night's council meeting. I, for one, personally urge the county council members to do the right thing and allow the county executive's veto to stand. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much for the update on the redistricting litigation, Council President. We appreciate it. Okay, number 14, new business. We have a couple items here. We have a budget amendment and a license agreement. So we're going to start with, well, Council President, since Councilman Robertson's not here this evening, did you want to handle that budget amendment?
Absolutely.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I make a motion for Budget Amendment 2022-12 regarding the water plant intake lines.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by Council President Glenn, seconded by Councilmember Ringsager. This is a budget amendment 2022-12. Questions or comments? Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The City Council approved the fiscal 2022 budget under Ordinance 1054 on June 21, 2021. Included in that budget was $460,000 for replacing the intake screens at the water treatment plant, which was Project 09-1231-9029. During the inspection of the intake lines in preparation for this project, it was determined that all three lines were structurally compromised and in need of replacement. The total cost of replacing the intake lines is now $1,560,000. We are therefore requesting a budget amendment increasing the project by $1,100,000, requesting that we redirect the funding balance and reduce the $1,100,000 from the Aberdeen Water Main Replacement account 09-1232-0951. So basically, we're reducing the water main replacement line in Aberdeen to cover this cost. We accommodate this increase and are moving forward on this budget amendment, and hopefully I get support from all council members on making this amendment.
Thank you very much for the background information on that, Council President. Appreciate it. Any other council members have questions? Okay. I have a motion by the Council President, seconded by Councilman Ringsager. This is Budget Amendment 2022-12. All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Budget Amendment 2022-12 carries 5-0 in the affirmative. Council President, would you mind briefly reading those numbers into the record?
Absolutely, Mr. Mayor. We're going to be increasing the use of funds for account number 09-1231-9029. That's the water treatment plant intake repairs, and that's for $1,100,000. In addition, the source of those funds will come from the water main replacement on Route 40. As I previously discussed, it's account number 09-1232-9051, and that's, we're going to reduce that by $1,100,000, so it's a zero-sum game.
Thank you very much, Council President. Mr. DeHorty, are those numbers correct?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, great, thank you. Thank you again, Council President. Okay, item B under new business, a geocache permit and license agreement, and I will hand this off to the Director of Administration, Mr. Gamatoria.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And council, before you this evening is our first application for geocache. If you recall, Resolution 2021-01, we resolved to look into how we were handle, the council looked into how they were going to handle geocache applications. A report from the administration came back the second meeting in June, and the policy set forth was that we had an application process that was on the city website, and each application would be submitted. The administration would then handle them at a council meeting, much like we do an event. So our first one in your packet that you have is an agreement from actually Mission Viejo, California. And the geocache is actually it's virtual. It's not a fixed object that's placed throughout the city. And I spoke to the gentleman who submitted the application, and it's a pretty neat concept. So it's for those people that are particularly interested in geology and looking at the different types of port deposit granite that are throughout this region. So he has a number of GPS sites, including the Methodist Church, the John O'Neill Cannon, the Lighthouse, Spencer Silver Mansion, so on and so forth. So I think this is a very valid geocache, and we would ask the council to support this.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gamatoria. Council, do I have a motion to approve the geocache permit license agreement application?
So move.
Second. Motion by Councilmember Zinner, seconded by Councilmember Ringsager. Questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Geocache permit and license agreement application carries 5-0 in the affirmative. Thank you, Council. We're going to go to item C under new business, which is special events. We actually have 7 of them to approve this evening, so everybody pay attention. So, okay, we're going to start off with the Clowns film shoot, and we're going to have the Director of Administration explain all these.
Hey, this I am not starring in, I'll have you know. This is a actual filming that's going to take place in several locations throughout the city. It's called The Clowns. It's a film shoot that will occur. The first shoot will occur downtown in the 100 block of North Washington. A second shoot will occur in these chambers, and then a possibility of a third shoot, but it doesn't appear that they're going to move forward with it, may be up at the Budget Inn up on Route 40. Each of these shoots will occur from 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. And due to the nature, we have had a conversation with the police department, DPW, and also with the film producer and director. They are going to hire our police officers as needed. The chief has a schedule of how many at what time in order to provide adequate security, and then also not take away from city's tax dollars, since this is a for-profit venture. Council, you may note that on the dates originally on the application were the January 24th, 25th, and 26th. That has been changed due to one of the stars of the show needing to change direction a little bit. So it'll occur on January 19th, 20th, and 21st. So all areas within the city where private property will be accessed, those arrangements and liability waivers have been taken care of by the film producer and the ownership. The call schedule is to the rear of the application, as is the different locations and the timing. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Council, any questions? All those, this is for the Clowns film shoot, January 19th to 21st, 4 o'clock to 4 a.m. each day, downtown City Hall in the Route 40 area. All those in favor say aye.
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 Oh, you know what? I forgot to get the motions here. Sorry about that, council. Can I have a motion to approve? So moved. Councilmember Martin. Anybody want to second it since we already voted on it? Councilmember Ringstar. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Okay, sorry about that, council. Got so excited about it, I just forgot to get a motion. All right, thank you very much. The Clowns film shoot is approved 5-0 by the council. Mr. Gamatoy.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The first event application is the Winter Celtic Festival. This will occur on, setup will begin on January 29th, the breakdown on January 30th. This will be a Saturday and Sunday event. The city services, or the city portion of this event, will be limited to David Craig Park. The event applicant is the Havre Grace Alliance. The contact person will be the president of the organization, Mr. Boker. On the application, Council, several notes that I'd like to make. When the applicant submitted it, they were submitting for the entire Celtic Festival, which for the purposes of this event application were not necessary. They're only going to need the facilities at David Craig Park. So there will be no food service at that location, and there will be no alcohol service at that location. It's strictly for the use of David Craig Park for parking and for transportation needs, staging, and so forth. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Gamatoya. Council, I have a motion to approve the Winter Celtic Festival.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Martin, seconded by Councilmember Boyer. Questions or comments on the event? Council President?
Also included in the application was a worksheet on special events, and it showed an estimated cost for police officers at over $7,400. It's safe to assume that that's null and void since we're just talking about parking at David Craig Park. Is that correct?
That's correct. I can let the chief comment if she'd like to comment further, but this is specifically to what we're looking at David Craig Park. It'll be minimum staffing as far as the event's concerned for that. Chief may want to comment on the overall weekend.
Yeah, that's correct. It was a little bit confusing at first because we had two event applications. So after speaking with Councilmember Martin and another participant in this, that what we have here is not correct. So it is very minimal staffing.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Council President. Any other questions or comments? Okay, Winter Celtic Festival, January 29th to 30th, 2022, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., David Craig Park. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against it say nay. Winter Celtic Festival carries 5-0 in the affirmative. Well done, Council. Item number 3, Mr. Gamatoya.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. This is the annual Mardi Gras parade. And generally, this event is sponsored by the Historic Preservation Commission for the city of Havre de Grace. However, the Historic Havre de Grace Foundation submitted the application. After several conversations with them, including this past weekend, They have withdrawn their sponsorship due to several requirements that they were unable to meet from within our event application process. Primarily having an insurance policy and also having being in good standing with the state of Maryland. I've spoken with Council Member Zinner, who is a liaison with the Historic Preservation Commission, and I believe the Historic Preservation Commission is willing to take the event on as usual. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So with that being said, we'll make a edit to this application. That'll be the Historic Preservation Commission. All other items on the application would stand.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gamatoya. Council, I have a motion to approve the Mardi Gras parade.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Ringstocker, seconded by Councilmember Zinner. Questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Mardi Gras parade scheduled for March 1st, 2022 carries 5-0 in the affirmative. Mr. Gamatoya.
Hey, Mayor and Council, the next application is one which Ms. Juliette Moore spoke on this evening. This is a sponsored event by the Havre Maritime Museum. It's the annual Garden Mart. Setup is May 14th. It's a Saturday. It runs through Sunday, which will be breakdown time about 7 p.m. on Sunday the 15th. This will be our normal setup down at Concord Point, where Lafayette Street will be closed at Young Street, over to in Concord Street over to Alliance Street. Pretty basic and again follows through with our normal process of having an event down at Concord Point Park. Call sheets are in the rear, as is the map, and if the map's a little sort of from a macro level, but if you want me to get down into the weeds on that, it's again, it's just the no parking signs. Handicap parking will be along Lafayette Street down to Concord. Barricades will be set at Young and Lafayette, and the other set of barricades over at Alliance and Concord. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Gamatoya. Council, do I have a motion to approve Garden Mart?
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Martin, seconded by Councilmember Boyer. Questions or comment on the event? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Garden Mart, May 14th to 15th, 2022, carries 5-0, is approved 5-0 in the affirmative. Thank you very much. Mr. Gamatoya.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. The next event application is our very popular Concerts in the Park, which occurs through the months of June and July down at Tidings Park. Setups are typically at 5 p.m. Breakdown is around 9 p.m. Dates are attached. Nothing out of the ordinary or different than years past. And again, this is sponsored by the Havre de Grace Arts Commission. Thank you.
Council, I motion to approve Concerts in the Park.
So move.
Councilmember Martin, second by Councilmember Zinner. Questions or comments on Concerts in the Park? Councilmember Zinner.
Thank you. I just want to make a brief comment. Thank you for approving. Last year, well, the year before, we were unable to have these concerts. And last year we were, and we weren't sure if we would be doing week by week. But fortunately, we were able to have all of the concerts, and the feedback was excellent. People really enjoyed it. They missed it from the year before, so I'm happy that this was so quickly approved, and they have their dates all set, and I'm sure they have their bands all ready to,
Yeah.
being as organized as they are. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Zinner. Councilmember Martin, you good? Any other questions or comments? Okay, this is for Concerts in the Park. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Concerts in the Park events for the summer is approved. 5-0 in the affirmative. Mr. Gamatoya.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, before you have the Shrimp and Barbecue Fest, again sponsored by the Havre Grace Maritime Museum, and again, one that Ms. Moore spoke on this evening. It's going to be held down at Hutchins Park at the Community Pavilion. The date is June the 11th. It'll be from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. It's a Saturday. There's a map and also a location of where the fencing will be, because alcohol will be served down there. And lastly, there's a call sheet from both the PD and the Department of Public Works. PD will handle this on normal patrol. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gamatoy. Council have a motion to approve the Shrimp and Barbecue Fest.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by the Council President, second by Councilmember Ringsacher. Questions or comments on the event? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Shrimp and Barbecue Fest for June 11, 2022 at Hutchins Memorial Park is approved, 5-0 in the affirmative. Mr. Gamatoy.
And last but certainly not least, the Autumn Fest application, again from the Havre Grace Maritime Museum. Again, Ms. Moore spoke on this earlier this evening. The Autumn Fest is October the 1st from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. It's a Saturday. Same location as the Garden Fest, same setup, same nearly everything. So be down at Concord Point Park. The call sheet and the map is attached, should council have any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gamatoy. Council, do I have a motion to approve Autumn Fest?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Boyer, second by Councilmember Zinner. Questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Autumn Fest for October 1st, 2022 is approved, 5-0 in the affirmative. Thank you very much, Mr. Gamatoy, for the laydown on all the special events. Thank you very much, Council. We're going to move to item 15, which is the Director's Reports. And we're going to start off with the Director of Administration. Right back to you, Mr. Gamatoy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. The administration this evening has nothing to brief council on. Everything that we talked about, or I talked about at the last meeting, we're moving forward with. The only little bit of difference is we are now in the preparation mode for the city election, which will be, I believe it's May 2nd or 3rd coming up. So the prep work on that has begun, and we're meeting with the Board of Elections as we speak. Time just keeps moving on. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gamatoy. We're going to go to the Director of Plan, Mr. Grimm. Good evening, Happy New Year.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Happy New Year to you, council members, and citizens as well. Just wanted to let you know we got our year-end permit totals. So December was a little slow, but we usually expect that. But we did have some permits and one new home permit in the downtown area. But for the July 1st through December 31st portion of the year, we took in 42 new permits. 27 of those were condos in Parcel N in Bully Rock, and 13 single families, which were 9 in Bully Rock and 4 downtown and 1 in Scenic Manor. And I believe that 1 in Scenic Manor should close out all of Scenic Manor. Again, I'll draw your attention to the 4 downtown lots. While that might not seem like a lot, it actually is, and I anticipate that we'll probably see about that much over the next couple of years. There's some infill lots that we're seeing some activity right up the street here that normally would look like a very small lot, but I'm really impressed with the creativity of the folks that are building some of these homes. We do have some, I believe it's on Alliance Street, 2 new, I guess what you would call tiny homes. And the one is up and framed up and is looking very nice. The other one hasn't started yet, I don't believe. So I do anticipate to see more of that coming up. And that's exciting, especially for the downtown, to see that type of revitalization and investment in that area. So we're excited about that. Also want to let you know the Board of Appeals will be meeting on January 13th to review a conditional use application. And that's for 4 single family lots downtown at Concord and Lewis Streets. So that's also exciting news. And on the 24th, the Planning Commission will then review that plan, the subdivision plan. And that's all I have for this evening. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Grimm. Appreciate the update. We're going to go to the Director of Economic Development, Ms. Bridget Johnson, who was not able to join us this evening. Does she have a report, Mr. Amatori? Thank you.
Yes, she does, Mr. Mayor. So on behalf of our Director of Economic Development, first of all, on December 30th, the Department of Economic Development launched the Havre Grace Business Beat newsletter. To subscribe to the newsletter, please visit the City of Havre Grace's Economic Development Facebook page or call 410-939-1800, extension 1175. The newsletter is the Havre Grace Business Beat, and it will be a quarterly production. Other good news is the Lower Susquehanna Greenway awarded the City of Havre Grace a mini grant in the amount of $4,968 for the purpose of Havre Grace building a nature tourism destination. The grant was written and submitted through the Department of Economic Development consultant, Wanda Boker. And lastly, the department and its local stakeholders have begun the process of completing the Sustainable Community Renewal Plan. The original Sustainable Communities Plan was approved for the years 2012 through 2017. The 5-year renewal application was completed and submitted in 2017 to continue through 2022. And now we're at the reapplication process, which will begin on June 30th, 2022. And that's it for the department.
Thank you very much, sir. We're going to move on to Director of Finance, Mr. Doherty. Good evening and Happy New Year, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Happy New Year. Council, Happy New Year. Citizens, Happy New Year. First of all,
This is our Happy New Year, by the way, not yours. Yours
yeah,
is,
I understand.
yours is July
it's only
1.
the halfway point for my year. That's right. You stole my thunder for the ending, but that's all right. You're always a step ahead here. First of all, Council, thank you very much for approving the budget amendment. This is obviously critical so that we can properly take care of the intake and move forward with that very important project. And we are not, I want to make sure that it's understood that we are not in any way, shape, or form down or sacrificing anything on the Aberdeen line. It is still adequately funded. It's just that when we initially put the bond together, we did not yet know the extent of the contribution to Aberdeen, and they have come through, as you all well know. And so it's a very worthwhile and helps the city move forward very well. So thank you. In terms of the financial condition, the general fund, the fund balance is sitting at just over $7.5 million. It's about $1 million up for the year, or ahead of where we thought we'd be. The beginning balance is still the beginning balance, and it was at $1.35 million that we were ahead of the game to start with. Salaries are less than we budgeted by just under $525,000. Due to some of the slowness in getting these projects, the materials and the equipment, we have fallen behind in both grants and in the interfund transfers, primarily from the American Rescue Plan Fund, as their reimbursement in nature, and so it's a timing issue. It's not one where there's any funding in jeopardy. It's just running slower than the budget would anticipate. And finally, income taxes we have not yet seen the January distribution, and without that, right now we're running just under $120,000 behind on income taxes for the year. Fund 9, the fund is in a slight deficit of $150,000, but it has grown by just shy of $600,000 for the year. The operating profit was $1.4 million. To that, we've added capital cost fees and development fees of $1.4 million, $1.7 million. And to that, we've also added in bond proceeds of 1.4 year to date, just 1.45 actually. And in capital projects and in debt service, we've spent a little over $4 million as we had a major debt service payment in January. That's why it's grown rapidly. And the creation of the short-term deficit, which we fully anticipate will be overcome by normal operations. The Marina Fund, the fund balance is sitting at just under $965,000. We've had an operating profit so far of the year of $107,000, and we've spent just under $100,000 in capital projects improvements that are in the budget. So we've grown by about $9,000 for the year. And those are the current situation on the three major funds. I'll be happy to entertain any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Horty. Appreciate the update.
Welcome, sir, and Happy New Year.
Right back at you. We're going to go to the Office of Director of Public Works. Mr. Whitty couldn't make it here this evening. Mr. Gamatori, do you have a report from Mr. Whitty?
Yes, I do, Mr. Mayor. Just several talking points from Mr. Whitty. The Water Street Living Shoreline Project goes before the State Board of Public Works on January the 26th. Grant requests have been submitted to DNR for approval for the Hutchins Park Living Shoreline, Giles Street, which is another part of the MS4 project, and the wastewater treatment plant outfalls, again, part of MS4. And then also the Lily Run stream restoration, which will take into account Lily Run from the side of the old Rita's ice cream store all the way out to just above Seneca Avenue. So it'll be a nice clean out of that entire area. The Bully Rock Water Tower Rehabilitation Project, request for proposal for construction will be sent out in January. Due to additional comments, Erie Street Restoration Sewer Project has been delayed. If council recalls, this is the sewer line that we just discovered and found a linear crack in near Canestio Street. The Superior Street Waterline Project, 30% drawings reviewed and comments have been sent out. That's for the replacement of the 155 line, one up to Graceview. And then the development plans for Bully Rock Parkway is preparing for to go under construction. The Greenway subdivision has been received. PWAs have been executed. We're waiting on bonds from the Greenway subdivision so they can move forward. And then the Blenheim Farm PWAs have been approved. The bonds have been approved. We're waiting for submittal of some revised plans from them. And then lastly, to all of our elation, we have the dredging going on down at the city yacht basin. The gentleman that's doing the job is doing phenomenal work down there. He's actually about halfway done. He's on the fairway, the third fairway, which typically doesn't get hit until about halfway through the month. So he's no nonsense. He's doing a great job. He's getting all the slips, the fairways, and he'll get the approach channel. So that's moving along very nicely. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much for the DPW update, Mr. Gamatori. We're going to move on to the police department and talk to Chief Walter. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I just wanted to touch base real quick. As you may or may not be aware, we had a pawn shop, not the city of Havre, but J&K Pawn Shop was hit, and a lot of firearms were stolen in that incident. And I bring this up because it is disturbing whether it's in the county or within the city of Havre. But many people have said, or several people have said, that they've mentioned that it is within the incorporated city of Havre. It is not. I know I've mentioned this before, just because it has a 21078 zip code does not mean it is within the city of Havre. Just as if you could have a Bel Air address and not be within the town of Bel Air, or an Aberdeen address and not be within the city of Aberdeen. So just to, I just want some clarification on that. Again, myself, my other law enforcement colleagues are not happy that this has occurred, because we are starting to see this trend from Baltimore City up to Baltimore County coming this way. But we are all working very diligently to try to keep these things from happening, and also just working on that particular case. But I did want to make that clarification because I have received several questions about that. The other thing I wanted to mention, today we had snow, if you didn't realize that. And please clean your cars before your trucks or whatever you're driving before you go out driving in the snow. This morning coming in, I saw somebody had cleared the windshield, but everything else was completely snow covered, and I know there's no way that this person could have been able to see. So I stopped them, and we cleaned off their windows, and they're good to go. But nonetheless, please pay attention to that. Also, watch your speed, watch other people on the road. And it's my understanding that we might get some more snow Thursday or Friday. So again, please pay attention to that. I also want to thank the American Legion last week. The folks in the Legion did a really nice job, a really kind thing. They served lunch to the police department, all the city employees, anybody that wanted to take advantage of it. The food was excellent, by the way. So it was really, really good. So I do want to thank all the folks from the American Legion. That was very, very nice of them to do that. And last but not least, on Friday, February the 4th, we have Special Olympics Maryland Polar Bear Plunge. We've signed up, donate please. But yes, once again, we will be plunging in Sandy Point State Park. So please donate to us. It is for a good cause. The athletes are wonderful people, and we'd like to help them out as much as we possibly can.
Hope we do get that snow.
Thank you.
How do we donate?
Oh, thank you very much. You can go on Special Olympics Maryland, and if you can go to the team location, and you will find the Havre Grace Police Department. We didn't name ourselves anything cute or anything like that. We just went with Havre Grace Police Department, and you can donate to me. In addition to the other officers, but donate to me, because we kind of have our own internal competition going on. But yeah, you can just do that, and that's fine.
Just because you bring it up, I know Baltimore County has legislation that says in front of, I don't know whether it's pawn shops or if it's for anybody who sells firearms, that there'll be obstacles in front of it. Knowing what we know now, I don't necessarily think legislation, but do you think maybe moving a planter in front of another location in town that potentially would sell firearms might be prudent?
We actually discussed that because we do have a pawn shop, and we actually discussed that when they originally went in. Just looking at the logistics of it, it might be a little bit difficult for them to do what they did, but anything like that anything that's preventive can't hurt. It honestly can't hurt.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know that legislation is required, to be honest with you, but yeah, something like that would definitely be of a benefit.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you so much, Chief, and Happy New Year to you. We're going to go to item, hold on, whatever the next item is. Business from the mayor. Item 16. So, Happy New Year, everybody. Father Time has visited us once again at the wonderful duck drop. Saw a lot of awesome Havre Grace people there, and some awesome people who weren't from Havre Grace, but they're always welcome in our city. Down by Concord Point, it was a misty, mild night, just on the threshold of a little bit of rain. If you were right under the fireworks, you could see them. If you weren't, you could hear them. So, but either way, we shot them off because that's what we do. We need to celebrate, the closure of 1 year and welcome whatever, fortune and blessings the new year has to offer us. And so that's what we did in Havre Grace, and we dropped the duck. And I want to thank the Susquehanna Hose Company and Ed Granger for always providing us with this great tradition we have. The city of Havre Grace does not create the duck. That's the fire department. It's a tradition they've had for over 2 decades, and they come down there with their equipment. They spend all the time to create it and raise it and to light it. And but the city of Havre Grace supports. We play a supporting role. With closing the streets and creating the other events and atmospheres and stuff like that. So it's a team effort, and it wouldn't be possible without the help of the Susquehanna Hose Company. So we appreciate that. So what does 2022 look like? It's I guess it's starting off with a little bit of a, speed bump, I guess. COVID is once again on everyone's mind again. I mean, just when you think it's kind of on its way out and it comes back with a bang. I realize the numbers are staggering right now. I mean, it's almost 14. Last couple of times we've taken a daily measurement. It's at least 14,000 new cases a day in the state of Maryland. Back a year ago, when it was bad last December and January, I think the most was a little under 4,000 in one day. So it's spreading very fast. It almost seems like vaccination status or not just doesn't seem to factor in who gets it or who doesn't. It definitely factors in on, who gets it bad and who doesn't. I have known in the last couple of weeks a lot of people personally who've gotten COVID, very personally, and they have all been vaccinated, and luckily, thankfully, these individuals have just experienced mild symptoms. So I am standing here right now telling everybody, if you're not vaccinated, please consider getting vaccinated. It's I think COVID's going to get everybody. It's almost like not if, but when you get it. Just really, I think a lot of us thought COVID was on its way out. I mean, the metrics were going down, and schools a month ago were talking about maybe in February, revisiting taking face masks off for instruction. But here we are again. But, also think this could be the beginning of the end. And I know this sounds kind of like a weird analogy, but as I was watching the fireworks at Concord Point Friday night, it kind of reminded me, I was thinking of like COVID in society, and you think of it since March of 2020, it started off kind of quick, then it kind of leveled off, then it came back again. And it's kind of like what fireworks do. They start off with a couple bangs, and then they just kind of keep the tempo for like 10 minutes. Then they throw a few up in the middle that kind of make it exciting again. Then you go back down on the tempo. And we all know how fireworks shows stop. There's a grand finale. And I kind of feel like that's COVID. It looks like it's just this new Omicron variant is going to run through everybody, vaccinated, unvaccinated. It seems to be very contagious. But I think we're going to be all right. We're the human race, and we're pretty resilient. And I feel that the government has done its job. We have this virus that came into our lives, and a year ago, if you got it, the only thing you could do was rest, drink fluids, and pray. Pray that you weren't one of the unfortunate ones that, for whatever rhyme or reason, just it took you down fast. Pray that you were just healthy enough to get over it after a week or 2 weeks. Our government, and our scientists, with the funding from the government, have created a vaccine that, where no vaccine is 100% effective, the vaccine is allowing our society to deal with it in hopefully a less lethal way. And, so no vaccine is 100% effective, but I really plead with my fellow citizens, if you're not vaccinated, please consider getting vaccinated. And if you are vaccinated and you're due for a booster, boost up. Do everything you can to put the odds in your favor. Just if you do contract it, just to let it be a 36-hour, 2-day head cold and move on. And hopefully this time next year we'll be talking about more, enlightening things than this, the COVID word. They call it COVID-19, and it's 2022 already. All right? That's old. Still dealing with it, So I'm not a health doctor, but I'm just saying I'm just like the rest of you. We live in a world. We observe. We see things. We deal with people. We pay attention to what's around us. Because of this highly contagious variant that seems to be going through like wildfire, we'll probably modify City Hall for the next couple weeks. I know the county executive issued today a directive that any citizens walking into a government building or government employees dealing with the public should mask up. And we'll probably adopt that policy only because I'm very concerned about maintaining my workforce so we can provide services to the public. We have experienced, like everyone else, the city of Havre has experienced many of our employees get COVID-19 in the last couple of weeks. And that is a concern when you have to carry out public safety, when you have to carry out the treatment of water and sewer and things like that, or get a team together at 3 o'clock in the morning to replace a broken pipe. So my biggest concern is maintaining the health and safety of the citizens so we can provide those services to the city of Havre. So probably tomorrow sometime we'll update our policy. Again, it's probably going to be something just where if you come into City Hall or my employees have to interact with the public, we'll probably have a mask mandate. We're going to modify it and come out with it, but hopefully it's just very temporary. We're not getting all draconian on people. You know, I still believe that a healthy, vaccinated individual is still good to go. I still believe that. So we're just trying to keep the workforce intact. But yeah, so back to 2022. It's going to start with a little speed bump called COVID, but you know, it's going to be a big year for the city of Havre de Grace. We have a lot of things coming down the picture here. And just to name a couple, I mean, you've heard me talk a lot about the auditorium across the street. You know, the old gymnasium and auditorium that once was part of the great mighty Havre de Grace High School. You know, we have a gymnasium that we're going to start exploring more functional uses for. We have a beautiful, almost 1,000-seat auditorium that we want to get online. And so that'll be a project for 2022. The downtown Revitalization, Rehabilitation, Resiliency project is going to take place, or at least start growing its legs in 2022, where we're going to get a clear vision on what we're going to do and how we're going to execute it. So that's coming. So we're going to do the whole downtown proper, historic Havre de Grace, and make it look beautiful. Our shoreline restoration project hopefully will come to a resolution this year along Water Street and much of the other parts of the city of Havre de Grace, down all the way towards the lighthouse. Public safety will still be things that we always try to maintain to the highest level of service to our citizens. The Water and Sewer Fund, Fund 9, will also be always our priority to make sure that's running efficiently and, you know, trying to make a profit instead of losing money. And hopefully by the springtime you'll see our little trolley going around town on the weekends, picking up tourists and citizens and showing them the town from a different point of view. So we have a lot of things coming in 2022 that we've been planning for a while. And I believe it's going to all happen. And I firmly believe that the things that you're going to see coming in 2022 are going to be the beginning of the redefinition of our city. I really believe that in my heart. I think it's going to be great. I'm very optimistic for 2022. And I can't thank my staff enough for all the effort they put into to make everything look great so far. I want to thank council for all the support they've done to believe in the mission, to believe in what we're doing here. So again, I just wanted to, I know I've been a little long-winded here, but it's just been 2021's been a difficult year and on different facets, but it's also been a productive year. We got a lot of good things done, and everything we've done in 2021 is going to set us up good for 2022. And like I say, it's a good time to live in Havre de Grace. It's a good time to move here. It's a good time to live here. It's a good time to bring your kids here, raise your kids here, new high school, middle school. It's happening here in Havre de Grace. So with that said, I want to say one more thing. I have mentioned that we had a feasibility study. We won a state, we were awarded a state bond bill to pay for a feasibility study on the future use of the auditorium and gymnasium for the old high school. And we went in contract with a company called Mans Woodward to carry out that feasibility study. And we also received grant money from the Arts Collective as well, who helped pay for this. We received the draft report from Mans Woodward. And when I say feasibility study, what I'm talking about is coming up with the best use, practical use for that auditorium and gymnasium. The city is not in the auditorium and gymnasium business. Nobody around here professes to be a master of how to be in Parks and Rec or how to be in show business and concerts. But what we want to is make sure that building is being used the best way we can to benefit our citizens without being a tax liability to the citizens. So that draft was received just before the holidays, and when the final copy comes in and it gets all finalized, we'll make it public. But that is moving along nicely. So with that said, thank you very much for everyone for listening to the 2022 Outlook. And finally, I'd just like to, before I sign off here, I want to mention, I want to ask everybody to keep a good friend of mine in their prayers. My executive assistant, her name is Risa, and she usually sits right there at that chair at council meetings. And if you notice, you haven't seen her here in a couple months. Risa and her husband, her husband Rick is battling cancer right now, and I just want to say hello to Risa and Rick. I know they watch all the city council meetings, and tell you that you're in our prayers. We're thinking of you, and I know a lot of my citizens have dealt with Risa. If you ever called the mayor's office, or if you ever needed to get anything done, you've dealt with Risa, and you know that she is one of the nicest, most kind people in the world. So we pray for her, we pray for Rick, and if everybody keep that in your hearts and prayers tonight, I'd deeply appreciate it. So with that said, we're going to move on to comments from council. We're going to start with Councilman Ringsacker.
Mr. Mayor, Council, I'd also like to reach out to Risa, tell you we love you, and we're praying for you. Had a great time at the duck drop. It was fabulous. Susquehanna Hose Company put on a great show. They had hand sanitizer and masks, and everybody was socially distanced, and I liked it in the fog. It was kind of cool to see the fireworks in the fog. Next day, stayed at home, watched a lot of football. Tradition in my family, the kids get this little marzipan pig called Gluckenschwein, or Lucky Pig. And, I grew up, we ate, it was black-eyed peas and ham hocks. And my wife, they grew up eating pork and sauerkraut, so we had pork and sauerkraut. I did enjoy that. I hope everybody had a good time in the snow today. That had to go to work, I'm sorry. But I came in early tonight because I met with a wonderful gentleman named Jack Lambert. He's a first-class scout working on some merit badges for Troop 965, and one of the most motivated men I've ever met. He's in Civil Air Patrol and very active in scouts. He's got a plan. He wants to be an astronaut, right? That's right. This young man is just fabulous. Him and his family are amazing people, good friends. I met Mike years ago when his father Mike, when I was back in the ambulance corps, which reminds me that tonight is the 15th anniversary of the passing of Vince Way, former Councilman Vince Way, who was a very dear friend of mine, and he sat in this seat, and I'm honored to sit here in his seat. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilman Ringsacker. And welcome to the council meeting, Mr. Jack Lambert. It's good to have you here tonight. Councilmember Boyer.
Thank you, Mayor. I too enjoyed the duck drop. That was a very exciting evening. I agree with you that I've never seen fireworks in fog like that, and some of the photos that people have taken and have posted up on social media are just amazing to see the backdrop of it. My favorite part, of course, of the fireworks was the very end. That was amazing when everything went off and the big bang. It was a great way to welcome in Baby New Year. I actually had a friend in from, she got stuck here in Maryland from BWI on her way to Minnesota to where she lives. And I told her, well, you just have to come to the duck drop with us. And trying to explain the duck drop to somebody from Minnesota is a little challenging. But when she was there, one of the things that she noticed, and it was, very obvious, was how, I don't know why, she just had this impression of our community that it was not as diverse as we are. And when she went to the duck drop, she was amazed by it, and she was amazed how everybody just got along with each other and was wishing each other happy New Year's, and it was just a great occasion. We walked home via the promenade, and the promenade after that whole experience was just absolutely gorgeous with all the lights. And she was taking pictures like crazy, and I think we're gonna have a large amount of people from Minnesota come visit us as a result of it. That's that's the outcome of that. I want to let everybody know that there is going to be a farewell presentation for Father James Snodgrass from St. John's Episcopal Church on the 9th of March at the Opera House at 4:30. They'll be doing presentations. There was a reception planned, but because of the uprise of the current strain of COVID, they will not be having a reception. But we will be honoring him and thanking him for his service to our community and to the church. And I just want to finish it up by saying I'm very excited to see the posts about the infill within Havre. It's so exciting. It's the mark of a very healthy community. It's great for our community to do infill. We don't have to lay any more sidewalk anymore. Well, we do need sidewalks in town because this is where the sidewalk ends. We don't have to build roads. We don't have to do water and sewer to the new locations, aside from their own hookup. It's just really great for our community, and it again is further evidence that Havre de Grace is a thriving community, and we are emerging into the next generation of what a city can become, and it's very exciting. With more people who live here, that means there's more need for services. So then hopefully we'll have more businesses and businesses that cater to the needs of our community. So it's very exciting. Thank you very much. Keep up the good work. And thank you, Mayor, for everything that you've done to encourage it as well. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Councilmember Boyer. Appreciate it. Good evening, Councilmember Zinner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council, citizens. Just a couple short things. I didn't have as exciting a New Year as some people in terms of the duck drop, but I could hear the fireworks from my home. I was not sleeping, I was awake, but I couldn't see them. So anyway, but I'm sure everyone had a wonderful time, and I can certainly appreciate their desire to get out and welcome a new year, because 2021, I don't think ended very well for a lot of people. And I'm certainly looking for 2022 to be a much better year, especially with all the hope and promise that 21 had to offer with the vaccines and hopefully a reduction in COVID, but it seems that we're back on a trajectory again. But I am hopeful that this year will be much more positive for everyone, because I know a lot of people had loss and painful days. So let's put an end to that and look forward to next year, or this year rather. So on behalf of the Historic Preservation Commission, I want to thank the council for approving the Mardi Gras parade, and on behalf of the Arts Commission, the concerts in the park. I also want to mention that next week's January 11th Historic Preservation Commission is going to change their venue. They're going to meet at the Havre de Grace Colored School. And as I hope everyone knows, that these meetings are open meetings and they're open to the public. So I hope if you're interested in historic preservation in Havre de Grace, you'll consider joining us. The other thing I want to mention is we have not the Historic Preservation Commission, but we do have a Havre de Grace history page on Facebook, and it has 700 members. So feel free to look on that at any time, and if it piques your interest, again, please come to one of our meetings. And I think that is it for my comments this evening. Again, I just want to wish everybody a wonderful new year, and I'm glad to see everyone on this dais back again. Good night.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Zinner. Good evening, Councilmember Martin.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council President, Council, citizens in the audience, and citizens at home. I had a presentation, but I wasn't able to get it up, so I'm going to do this very, very quickly. I want to thank the council, and especially Steve Gamatoria, for working through that Celtic Festival conundrum that we had about using David Craig Park. The event is coming up, so if you're interested in finding out about it, go to www.hdgburnsgathering.org. When you get there, the webpage will direct you to many different events. So I'm going to hit just a couple of highlights, and you can tell, you may think that I'm outlandish, but actually I'm Outlander, because there is an Outlander adventure that is sponsored by the 4th of July Commission. So on Saturday, the 29th, you can come down, and tickets are available on the webpage, and it will benefit the 4th of July Commission. If you start on Thursday night, those of you who are interested in either a whiskey tasting, or scotch tasting rather, and a Bonnie Knees contest, that will be held at the State Theater. The Opera House is also participating, and they're going to have, one of the events is, those of you who know we have a sister city, we twin with Mumbles, Wales. They're going to actually be doing a live stream from Mumbles, Wales at the Opera House so that you can see, and they can actually see us on what we're doing. We have contracted with St. Patrick's Hall. There are going to be 27 vendors, and they're various vendors. They're Celtic vendors, they're just vendors in general. Some are Scottish, there's Irish, but you're going to have Celtic vendors, so that's going to be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So you can see there's a lot of events, and I will bring up more events at the next council meeting just to give you a better overview. But again, if you're interested in seeing what's happening the weekend of the 27th, 28th, 29th, and 30th in downtown Havre, Grace, again, hdgburnsgathering.org, and all the information is there. There are a lot of sites that are free. You don't have to buy tickets for. So again, I hope to see everyone in downtown Havre, Grace celebrating 2022. Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Martin. Finally, we're going to go to business from the Council President. Council President Glenn, good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As I normally do, I'm going to start out with some Warrior Proud moments. They're a little slim tonight because of the recent holidays, but I do have a couple to report. Our girls' JV basketball team beat Pattersonville. Check this score out, 48-19. And the boys' varsity basketball team beat Northeast 67-42. So again, it's Warrior Proud, Grace on top. We continue to move forward, and we'll probably have a little bit more to report after the holidays got through. I got to assist the local Elks Lodge 1564 on Christmas Eve, handing out Christmas baskets. And I want to thank Frank and Debbie McFadden and all the Elks members, because it once again reinforced to me what the true meaning of Christmas was, and that's giving to others, expecting nothing in return. And I got to tell you that when you deliver those baskets and see the smiles on people's faces, it truly made my Christmas. It truly made my Christmas, and congratulations to Elks on just an awesome event. They do it every year, and I was really proud to be a part of that. Jack, man, it was good to see you in the audience tonight. I wish you nothing but the best. Keep moving forward, getting those ranks, and set that bar for an Eagle Scout, because I'm telling you right now, if you get the rank of Eagle Scout, you'll never regret it. It'll be something that you can always treasure. You'll be joining a fraternity of many, many Eagle Scouts, and it brings a lot of benefits with it. I mean, I know that personally because I was surprised. I got my Eagle Scout. Once I got my Eagle Scout, I got my federal government job by being an Eagle Scout. And it just so happened that the guy interviewed me, said he had no job for me. He said, "Did you leave anything out?" And I said, "I got my Eagle Scout." And he said, "I'll be right back." Turns out he was an Eagle Scout, and he somehow worked the numbers in such a way that he got my job. So it's a great honor, and I wish you nothing but the best moving forward. Risa and Rick, again, I wish you guys nothing but the best. Our thoughts and prayers are with you every single day. Rick, I'm wearing your bracelet in your honor, and the one message I want to send to you, buddy, is keep the faith. And my last note is, that's the end of my comments, but I want to say that I want to move at this time for council to go into closed session on Monday, January 3rd, 2022. This meeting will be closed under the General Provisions Article Section 3-305 to do two things: to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice, and to consult with staff, consultants, or other individuals about pending or potential litigation. The reasons for this closed meeting are the discussions surrounding the communications with the city attorney for legal advice concerning pending litigation and the facts derived from the staff and others in determining legal strategy for litigation purposes is entitled to confidentiality under the attorney-client privilege. And I want to make note, the city council will not resume in open session after this closed session, so we will not be voting on anything, but I move at this time to move into closed session, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by the council president, second by Councilman Ringsacher. This is a motion to go into closed session at the conclusion of this meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Closed session is approved. 5-0 in the affirmative. We will move into closed session at the adjournment of this meeting. Any other comments, Council President?
That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Item 18 is adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Seconded by the motion by the Council President, seconded by Councilmember Zinner. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to adjourn carries 5-0 in the affirmative. The time is now 8:22. That concludes our council meeting for January 3rd. We hope everybody stays healthy and safe. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you in a couple weeks, Havre, Grace.